What's going on, everybody? Anthony here, the 6 Scale Mafia man. Today we got that special Monday again, Peter.
Mondo Monday.
Mondo Monday.
Mondo Monday.
Mondo Monday.
So Peter here, Hector here. How are you guys doing tonight?
Great, man. Happy to be here.
I lost my mouse, guys. 1 second. I'm sorry, but we got Rob here as well.
Hello.
How you guys doing? I'm getting a weird echo too, guys. What the hell's going on?
Is that from you or from me?
No, it's probably from me, but I lost.
You sound fine on my end.
Yeah, you sound good on mine too.
Yeah. All right. Well, as long as I lost my mouse, guys. But anyway, how are we doing tonight, guys? Sorry. Something just happened.
Good. It's a MacReady Monday, actually.
MacReady. Oh,
isn't that good?
Yeah.
We did it on purpose. We waited for the perfect day of the week to release it, just to be able to do that alliteration. Turns out it's Monday.
It's a good day to release it, I think, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, Thing, where does the Thing rank, Rob, for you on your list of, I'll give you two lists and see where you put it, on Carpenter films and sci-fi horror as a genre?
Ooh, okay. I'm a huge John Carpenter fan. The very first piece of physical media I ever owned was Halloween on Meta VHS, and then one of the second pieces in the next wave I had Dark Star on VCI, and then after that was Assault on Precinct 13, and I'm a huge fan of Carpenter's. Now, here's the thing. I think The Thing is probably at the top of anyone's Carpenter list, but because, I mean, I always, when Carpenter worked for studios, he made Starman, which also is at the very top of my list of Carpenter movies. But then he'd make things like Memoirs of Invisible Man. That's kind of down on that list. I think because it's not so much, that's more of a work for hire job for him. But to me, when I think about John Carpenter, I think that the most iconic John Carpenter movie probably, I mean, The Thing is iconic, but The Thing is not, it works outside of Carpenter's pantheon the same way that, to me, the first thing that I think of when I hear John Carpenter, I think of Escape from New York.
Oh.
And I think of Escape from New York because that was, so he'd made Dark Star, Assault, Halloween, The Fog, and then Escape from New York was his fifth movie. But that was that was like an idea he had and created this whole world with this big ensemble cast. It wasn't like, The Fog is a ghost story. Halloween's the boogeyman. Assault on Precinct 13 is a gang movie. And then Dark Star is a sci-fi film. But Escape from New York was kind of a genre pastiche that I think only John Carpenter could have made. And to me, it's like pure, uncut Carpenter. Not that all of these things aren't, but The Thing is a remake. Right. It's a remake. It's an adaptation of a story. Yeah. But I think The Thing is probably his best movie. And as far as I've always thought The Thing, there's a triptych of incredible sci-fi remakes, beginning with Philip Kaufman's Invasion of the Body Snatchers in '78, followed by The Thing, followed by David Cronenberg's The Fly.
The Fly, I knew it.
Those, And then I would, just because I just watched the 4K disc, people always want to throw in Chuck Russell's The Blob as well.
I love that movie.
And The Blob, watching it again, it's like, great. This is pretty damn good. The only thing is, the source material itself doesn't aspire to what the other three movies aspire to.
Right.
So I can't I can't add it in with those other three.
No.
But in terms of sci-fi horror,
right?
I think the granddaddy of all sci-fi horror is Alien.
Okay.
The first.
Hey,
Alien.
what do you know, man?
Yeah.
Number one, and only because when that movie came out, I mean, it could never have been made. People would say like Mario Bava's Planet of the Vampires, or it came from outer space. I mean, I get all those movies, but those were even Planet of the Vampires, which I love. I recently got the disc in 4K, the movie in 4K from Germany. It's insane. It's beautiful. Alien is so A-list, and the ecosystem, and it's the greatest realization. I'm always banging on about verisimilitude. It's the greatest realization of that. But that said, the thing about The Thing is that not only is it A-list sci-fi horror, but it's also its aspirations. It's very adult. It's not about teenagers running from monsters. It deals with paranoia. It deals with all of these psychological issues. the fact that we're stuck in this ice, this camp in the Arctic and all, it's got so much going on. It's highbrow. I mean, it's not as A-list as Alien, because you don't have Ridley Scott's design team and everything. But in terms of the aspirations, it's also a movie that succeeds in doing exactly what it set out to do.
100%.
What I love about the thing.
Those are the only two right answers. I would have also accepted Reanimator.
But that's more
Jeffrey Combs.
classic. Again, that's more of a classic. And I would say that Reanimator is, and I love Reanimator, is essentially a B movie.
Yes.
Well,
Whereas The Thing and Alien aspire to A-list.
Correct.
And I
correct.
love Reanimator.
No, so I'm saying that's why I said there's only two right answers. I would have accepted Reanimator. It wouldn't have been a right answer. I would have accepted it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Those are the right answers. So thank you. And that's it. You're good to go, man.
No, that's a good. That's all. It's Rob. Man. That's awesome. That's a good.
Well, I mean, but
man.
the thing too is, like you say, it's MacReady Monday, and we'll get to why it's very exciting what Mondo is doing with The Thing. But also, what's another great thing is Kurt Russell himself and the relationship that he had. He first worked with Carpenter when they did Elvis, the TV movie Elvis, together,
Right.
and then he played Elvis, and then you had MacReady and you had Snake Plissken, and then of course you had Jack Burton,
Jack Burton.
Big Trouble, which is another. I mean, I would love to get the
film.
Three Storms. Like, if some company wanted to make figures of the Three Storms, what company might that be?
Dude, Big Trouble in Little China to me is my favorite Carpenter movie, which is hard to pick because I literally love Halloween, The Thing, Escape from New York, and Big Trouble just so freaking much. But that's the one that if I had to only ever watch one again, it's Big Trouble, because it's just I remember watching it as a kid, and it just felt like I wasn't supposed to be watching it.
It's a feel-good movie. You just throw it on. And
it
could be at any time. You're just gonna have a good time watching it. It checks like all the boxes, like action, horror, sci-fi, fantasy, comedy.
And comedy.
It's
Comedy,
everything. You get,
and it's got a
everything
banger score. John Carpenter scoring his own movies. That's a great score.
Yeah.
Eventually, when we get to the
Great
point
cast.
where it's just as easy to sit down and have AI deliver the movie that's in your head as it is to watch any Netflix app or whatever, I'm going to recast Jack Burton in every action movie and just watch those films.
Well, dude, not only that, it was like, for me, it was like it's kind of a precursor, that and Bloodsport. Really a lot of big inspiration for Mortal Kombat, so. Because I remember watching those movies, as a kid, and then a few years later, you get Mortal Kombat. You're like,
Raiden.
A lot of this is very, so it's awesome.
Very, very.
And remember,
like Lopan. I mean,
the three storms from Big Trouble are actually based on the Masters of Death from the Lone Wolf and Cub movies, aka Shogun Assassin.
Yeah,
which is another great. I mean, I don't like dubbed movies or anything like that, but Shogun Assassin, which is a compilation of 2 of the Lone Wolf and Cub movies, is like one of the greatest things ever made.
100%.
If you guys haven't seen Shogun Assassin, do yourselves a favor.
Yeah.
So they took the Lone Wolf and Cub movies, which is based on the graphic novels or the manga, and they when they brought them to America, they took the first 2 and fused them together, and they added a disco score. And this child's voiceover, it's insane but awesome.
Really cool.
It's so good. And then the 3 Masters of Death are exactly, when you see the Lone Wolf and Cub, you're like, oh, that's where they got that.
Right, exactly. Real quick though, I want to say what's up to Rockamon Chris, dude. Thank you, my man, celebrating 6 months. A channel membership, says best YouTube channel for 6 skill discussion.
Agreed.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that very much, guys. Yeah, I mean, dude, and again, hello everybody in the chat, guys. I know it's a little busy, got a lot to talk about, but appreciate everybody tuning in. Obviously, we're talking about The Thing. Do we want to just get right into it?
Let's go, dude. Don't bore us. Get to the chorus. That's what John Bon Jovi always
all right.
does.
Well, I didn't know we were gonna have a little foreplay. All right, but we're getting right into it. All right, we're right into it. I don't know who wants to go. Peter, Hector?
Well, I think Hector needs to kick us off, because here's the backstory on this, and I won't say too much. I'll let Hector talk. But this figure has been in the works for a while.
Yeah.
And we thought it was ready this year. in the springtime, right, Hector? On May, when we had a version of it debut at the Texas Frightmare Weekend, a convention in Dallas, which is a horror convention, super fun. And everything was ready to go. We had the then final head sculpt, which in sculpt phase felt spot on, and when it got painted, it just felt slightly off, but we couldn't put our finger on it. And so we took it out. People loved it at Frightmare. They really did. They really were like excited for it. John Carpenter was there. He saw it. He dug it, you know. But we got back from the show and we spoke a lot, and we had some fans talk to us on the side too. And we knew that the head sculpt was slightly off. It was just not right. And so kudos to Hector and the team working on this figure. But despite all the time that had already gone into the figure, we said it's not right. Go back, do it again.
Wow, that's really good though.
Yeah. And so I think because of that, and because of the commitment to making sure if you're going to do a figure like this, to just, it's got to be on. It's too burned into our brains, you know? And I mean, I couldn't ask for a better depiction. I'm so excited about, Hector, I mean, actually, what's the backstory on that?
Yeah, I think you have a couple pictures of like close-ups of his face. We can go right into that.
We can. Yeah, let's
kind of like a big topic. Yeah, so like Peter said, you know, we did debut it at Frightmare. We were happy where it was, but you know, as is with a lot of these type of shows, right? You kind of debut a prototype. You get the feel for what everyone's thinking, and like Peter said, some people were happy, but we heard some chatter. And then we were like, you know what? Let's revisit the face, because his portrait is very, very difficult, very, very hard.
For some reason, no matter who makes the figure,
this figure's been a saga, right? It's been a solid like almost 2.5 years of internal development for us, of just like getting, you know, trying to get the portrait just right, and then, you know, going from one portrait to another, and trying to get it to where it's like finally feels like him. And I think we nailed it on this last one. And it just been, you know, MacReady, you know, in 1/6 scale form has been such like an elusive thing. I don't know if you all remember back in the day, the PCS MacReady one thing that debuted at like a WonderCon in like 2000, what was it, like 2015 or 16 or something like that. I coincidentally worked on that one too, but it was just pretty funny that now I came to Mondo several years ago now, and then it was one of the first things when you know, we got our Universal license, which was let's do MacReady, and it took a minute, but we got it to this point here, and we're really happy to finally be able to put out, I think, the first ever 1/6 scale MacReady.
Dude, he looks awesome. He looks awesome.
Yeah, it's really great.
The next portrait too, the next picture with like the snow portrait is like, that's my favorite. It's just like it just looks so good.
That expression.
It's like when he's holding up, he's got the blood and the, you know, he's holding up the flame.
The flare, he's got the flare on, and he's like doing this. Yeah.
Dude, and I know what you mean, like, because I remember, you know, myself seeing it, and that was kind of, you know, my first thought too. I was like, oh, all right, really cool, but yeah, maybe the sculpt needs a little bit of tweaking and whatnot. 100%. That was just my general, like, when I first saw it. So, you know, it's awesome that you guys took the, you know, the process, kind of went back, said, okay, you know what, let's work on it. And I try to tell people that sometimes too, not to say that it wasn't ready by any stretch, because, you know, I don't know the inner workings of you guys, but I know with a lot of things like that'll happen, right? Like a con will come up and you're like, hey, well, what do we got that, you know, we can show right now, and then, you know, let's just show what we have. Sometimes, you know,
no, to be fair,
proof of concept, right? Proof that it's existing,
right?
And we're working on it, and and also a great time for feedback, right? Especially if it's in an early prototype stage, right, where we have the time to make small adjustments and hear out some of the fans. We take that seriously. You know, we want this to be something people are proud of and people want to display as part of their 1/6 scale collections. And so, and we know the portrait is probably the most important thing to try to nail and get as close as we could.
It's what I'm most proud of being at Mondo, is that we have this, you know, as a collector myself, you know, it's awesome to have, you know, when you work in this business, you get to meet everybody at all the companies and you can reach out to them directly. It's no big deal. But when you're a collector and you don't have that access, it's awesome, and I pride myself in that we are accessible and people do feel comfortable telling us what's what. And sometimes we're like, no, I think you better wait and see. You're going to be really impressed. And sometimes I'm like, no, you're spot on. You're right. And we take it to the bank. And again, because I think Hector and I share this in common as big fans and collectors, we feel like we're in service to the collectors. We feel like we're lucky enough to be in this position, but ultimately it's to wow people, to excite people, and to do what toy collecting does for us, which is to spark that real joy in any moment of any day that you're walking by or this figure, you're like, God, this is so cool, right? That's such an important aspect to this. And so we knew we were close. We weren't sure if we would have the ability to do another pass at the sculpt. And when we were able to do it again, it's just, we knew it, swing for the fences and look at that thing. Like, who's the sculptor on the head again, Hector? I forget the name. Do you have it offhand?
I don't have his name offhand, but he's super talented, and he is credited on our product page. And
I'll pull it up. I want to make sure.
Yeah, we'll tag him in all of that. We have tagged him on our social posts, but I don't remember the name.
I'll pull it up. I put you on the spot.
It was our first time working with him, and he was incredible.
Does it come with all this stuff?
Yes. I think we gave him. I think you have the picture of all the accessories. It's like a big layout.
Yeah, I should have a big layout photo here.
Yeah, there it is.
Bam.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Look at all that stuff.
So yeah, that's everything. You know, when we put this together, of course, the MacReady is the star of the show, right? Like, you're selling the MacReady figure. That's what.
Right, of course. Yeah.
But and to myself too, I was like, well, I want him to be standing next to something that you can like have him interacting with something. And if we didn't include some of the the mutated creatures and head, the spider head, the dog, like it just kind of became a must for me in my head. Like, I have to include at the very least the spider head, and let's include the dog as well. Why not? Kind of thing. It meant that other accessories maybe had to be sacrificed for the sake of including some of the creatures, just because we don't want this to balloon in price into like some ungodly number, and we want people to have it as much as possible. So it did mean some accessories were ended up on the cutting room floor, but I think that it was important to include some of the monsters because they're so iconic, especially
it completes it. Yeah, it completes it. Really does. 𝗕𝗘𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘, I think, is who you were looking for, Hector, as the sculptor potentially.
Yes.
Okay. And it's beautiful work, man.
Yeah, he did the head portraits for us. This was a big collab with a lot of artists, to be honest. We had another artist, his name is Matt Black, who did most of the heavy lifting on the accessories and on the spider head and the wolf, the dog. We also had some internal help here with one of the sculptors here internally. Corwin did the flamethrower gun for us, and we had Tommy and Alex also. Everyone added their own little piece to the touch to this figure for sure.
And just to be like upfront, there's so much to MacReady, like in the scope of the film, that we couldn't get to everything, but we put together what we thought was what you definitely needed.
Right.
The monster pack here included to feel like that. When you display them, it should feel like the thing. And I think as a fan of the movie, like Hector was saying before, having those creatures around him is what creates that vibe. Setting him up at the cons this year, when you put them together and that face that he has with the snow on it, like that just looks so good together. Like his overwhelmed expression, having these creatures around, it's so cool.
Plus, I mean, like a viewer just asked about the hat and glasses. Those actually happen at the beginning, but when they fly up to the Norwegian base,
right.
So this is post that trip.
Yeah,
and because you see the dog is the first manifestation of the thing that we see in their base. So it's great to have those, and those are manageable. I mean, you couldn't have made a Blair monster.
not right off the bat, right?
Although I would love a Blair monster.
I want to.
You and me both.
I mean, trust me. I mean,
you could have it like things come out of the Blair monster. You pull out.
Rob, let's just say we really want this figure to do well because there are a lot of ideas that we want to get to.
Oh, there's a lot that we could. There's so much we want to like support this property with, and that's just never been made before, right?
Yeah.
To this degree. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot. And yeah, the spider head, I think, is one of the more iconic.
That's so iconic.
Totally. Yeah, it totally is. And I totally get what you're saying earlier too, because like there are a lot of other accessories that could have probably gone in, but then, you know, the
you have the hat, the big
you know?
poncho hat. You know, we had the hat. We had that for a minute. We had the glasses, obviously, right? We had the lantern, we had the dynamite stick, we had the flare, we had the blood sample, we had all.
Where's his chess playing computer? I mean, come on, you could go all deep in.
You know, the J&B bottle, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there were so many components that were in it at one point, and then out of it, and then back, and then this is kind of where we landed, where it just kind of made sense as the first.
Did you see Carpenter on Colbert the other night?
I saw he was on, but I did not watch the appearance yet.
Okay, you got to watch because Colbert just wanted to talk about the thing.
Oh, no way.
That's Colbert is a fanatical fan.
It was good that we called in that favor, so that's good.
I mean, you should send him one of those and ask him to do a blurb.
That would be awesome.
Give
me the Colbert contact.
Well, I don't know anybody over there, but I mean, listening to him wax rhapsodic about the thing. I mean, and he was asking, you know, he asked Carpenter, do you know who's the thing at the end of the movie? And they talked about, Carpenter says that when the spider head is his favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
It's the best, dude.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to P-Rock, by the way. What's up, P-Rock? P-Rock in the house. I sent you an invite, P-Rock, if you wanted to come on. I don't know if you're around right now, but so we need Clayface, Poison Ivy, Pumpkinhead, and fully transformed dog monster in a thing.
Yeah, the Blair, right? Is that the Blair monster, basically?
Well, the Blair monster, the big one, and then the dog, like what you were saying earlier today, Hector, when he's fully
he has like the flower, his face splits open, right? Yeah. It's all, there's so many good things, so many.
I mean, for me, that my favorite is that the shocking.
The Norris, is it the I think it's the Norris, is it the Norris creature? Is that
where the belly opens up and it just takes his arms,
giant long neck coming, like
the diorama.
Yeah, it's a whole thing, right? You can just create like a big,
So, but now we look here. We got the photo here. So the jacket is removable.
The jacket's removable. The flight suit unzips all the way down, and you could like tie around his waist. And he has his t-shirt and his, he has like a long sleeve undershirt on as well. So you could.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's more pictures on the website that'll pop up tomorrow.
Yeah.
When it goes on sale. That kind of show this off, or like you can unzip the flight suit, and have them in a different. You can remove the belt and strap, and not have the holster. So most of his outfit is kind of all customizable. You can kind of display them however you want.
Totally,
so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think we lost Anthony for a second, but while we're on this one, this pose specifically is just like that action pose, badass, like just let's go, dude. Which is my favorite thing about his character in the film. That is like he gets pushed to this point where he's like, all right, let's go. That whole cast, man. That and talk about a tableau. I always think of like your term, Rob, that a tableau. Like the thing is that it's all those colors, the frost, a theme, and then the red poking through. I think of like a Mike Mignola Hellboy comic where it's all cool tones, and then the red of the monster is always what's piercing through. It's just so great. And over time,
when those flares light up, it just completely engulfs this.
Exactly. Like over time, the movie palette changes to be just overwhelmingly warm tones and red tones. Yeah. By the way, the question, good question. The tomorrow is the pre-order goes up, right?
Yeah.
On Halloween.
Yeah. On Halloween, it'll be available tomorrow morning. I believe it's 10 a.m. Pacific. 12 p.m. Central Time, and it'll be available for 10 days as a 10-day timed edition. So
okay.
Nice.
10. Can we talk price or
what's the retail? What's the MSRP?
For the Mondo, the timed edition with everything, it's $265. And then we do have a regular edition that doesn't come with the two creatures that we'll have available as well at $235.
But you're crazy not to get the monster pack.
Yeah.
All right. So 265 is everything we see in this.
Everything
photo.
there.
Yeah.
For 10 days.
Yes.
And then 235 is the one without the monsters.
Yeah, it'll be basically our regular edition that we'll have up available for through us and maybe some other retailers and stuff.
And we do have payment plans on Mondo. I know that.
Yes, we have a 𝗕𝗘𝗢𝗠𝗘, Shop Pay, and PayPal. So also like a handful of payment options.
Wow, dude,
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too because we've been so proud to talk about our animated lines like X-Men and Batman the Animated Series. We had the Harley has been shipping, and people have been getting Harley Quinn in hand, and they can't believe how badass that figure, especially with the dogs, and so we've really carved a niche in the animated line. But being able to bring out a figure like MacReady is just so exciting because it shows, we also teased our 𝗦𝗢𝗠𝗘 figure this year. We also teased a Megan figure in 1/6. And Universal's been so awesome to allow us to be able to adapt these characters and show what we can do in the more, on model, accurate, realism focused figures. That this is just an awesome way to launch that, and I think the excitement online is showing that people are so stoked to see this kind of take. I'm a Hot Toys collector. I love my Star Wars and my Marvel figures, but I'm always excited when they talk about horror, when there's sci-fi genre talked about. Those are the characters I really love to collect, and so getting the chance to release something like this is just huge.
Yeah, I mean, I to be honest, I'm disappointed that Hot Toys. I mean, I understand it's an economic situation, but I love people forget Hot Toys did a Vito Corleone. They did The Godfather, and their RoboCop line was always great, and things like the Crow and other figures. I mean, I'm surprised they never did. Hot Toys never did. I mean, Sideshow did their Snake Plissken, and they did their
Jack
Burton, but they never did MacReady. And I think that for you guys, what a perfect figure for Mondo in terms of your philosophy, your company philosophy. What a great figure to put out. I mean, that's what's so cool about this is that if there's any Carpenter figure that screams Mondo, I mean, maybe of course Jack Burton would too, but this screams, and the monsters and everything and the accessories, and I'm just happy to get it.
Yeah, I mean, for us to go into venture, we've been doing a lot of the animated 1/6, right? And it's like, it's big, it's more expensive, better deco action figures, right? Some people call it that, and for sure, I mean, we put a lot of work into those as well, and our Masters of the Universe line kind of crosses that bridge where it's a bit animated, more realistic textures, more realistic deco and design, and then we've never really done. Kind of Hot Toys.
Look at how bad. Go back to that picture.
For lack of a better.
Go back. Yeah, that is badass.
And we got to shout out our photographer, Raul.
Yeah, Raul Barrero is our photographer for a lot of our stuff, and he's incredible. He just really captures.
Is that
the tape deck that comes with the Pulp Fiction John Travolta?
I don't know.
That's on the bottom with the head. I mean, that's pretty great. Bob Dylan could probably tell you the answer to that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we this is kind of the beginning, and I think I saw a question there. Someone was asking if we are going to be going into more lifelike figures moving forward, and yeah, I mean, this is kind of. I mean, we did one a long time ago. If you've been following Mondo for a decade or more, we did an Alfred Hitchcock figure back in the day as one of Mondo's first releases, and then we never really touched on that realism ever again. So kind of bringing it back here, especially with horror. I think, like you were saying, it's like Mondo and horror just go well together.
Yeah,
and
totally.
To kind of kick it off with a movie like The Thing, which is such a cult classic, and we're all huge fans of it here. I think it's perfect. And then we have 𝗦𝗢𝗠𝗘 slated for next year, Megan. And just exploring this more like kind of realistic section of the collector base.
So you guys have a deal with Universal then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So because you know what else is Universal's Prince of Darkness?
Oh, yes. I love that movie.
I mean,
one of the coolest characters of all time.
I mean, maybe you could get the homeless Alice Cooper cooking.
Oh my god!
Because I love that's a classic Carpenter character too. But You know, that's cool. I mean, that you guys are, wow.
There's a lot of opportunity, you know, and I think again, those are 3 figures that I'm very happy that we're going to be able to bring to the line, and then going forward from there, it's really, you know, I can't wait, because that, you know, if you think of Universal and the pantheon of characters, and even if you just think of horror and just limit it to that, there's such great stuff. So I think we're ready to rise to the moment, and MacReady's going to be the first shot across the bow to say, yep, we're doing this too, man.
Now Justin here's wondered is this going to be the only character from the line, or is that anything you can even talk about? Or
I mean,
it's kind of vague. I don't know.
No, it's one of those things where it's like they're just like, you know, we had said some accessories made it on, you didn't make it to this release or whatever. We have a ton of plans. You know, it's really a matter of like if the support is there,
right,
you know, for something like this, and people are excited. Yeah, I would say 100% there's a chance for more. I can't confirm or deny that we already have several plans for sure.
Right. Well, I'll say this to everybody watching. It is very true. I'm sure I can speak for everybody when I say that, you know, orders matter, pre-orders matter, numbers
Absolutely.
matter. And, you know, if MacReady does like exceeds your expectations, then it would stand to reason you guys would be interested in doing more from the line. I mean, just makes sense.
It's exactly
you could do, since you're making NADA, you could make one 𝗕𝗘𝗖𝗢𝗍 figure,
absolutely,
and then you could make him interchangeable between Frank and 𝗕𝗘𝗢𝗡.
From your lips to God's ears, Rob.
I mean, and he would probably love that.
Yes,
you know, the actor, to get his likeness or whatever.
Yeah, he's amazing. We got a chance I got a chance to meet him at that show in May, and just a real great dude. And the whole cast from the thing, you know, barring Kurt Russell, was there essentially, and so we were able to talk to them. They were just great. And dude, it's just you when you think it's an ensemble cast, and it's like, even if you don't have likeness rights to certain actors, right? There are so many moments where the humans transform, and that transformed monster version of that's a figure. You know what I mean? Like, that's a great figure. So,
of course.
But yes, like Hector was saying, the truth is, and like you were saying, Anthony, the truth is, if the excitement's there and people turn up for this figure and vote with their dollar, then believe us that we have a lot of interest. At least I can say, to continue to explore the film.
So, yeah, you got to do, what is it? Is Knowles the chef? Cook? TK Carter or
yes. Well, there's also when what's his I forget his name, when his head opens up.
Right. I was just thinking you give him roller skates and a boombox.
Oh yes.
You know, playing Superstition.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Put the dirty drawers in the kitchen trash can.
You could almost do potentially like a monster pack where it's like you have the Blair monster, you have a bunch of other little, and they could stand alone, or they could be a set with these. I mean, in theory, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, you totally could. I mean, because like you're saying, there's a lot of those properties are like normal figure or like normal people, and then the monster versions. So like you could totally have a lot of fun with that if people are, you know, receptive to it, which I think they would be. I mean, even just speaking on the thing, man, I mean, this movie is timeless. I mean, it's weird too, right? Because, you know, as Rob mentioned, I mean, it was a remake, but this feels like the one, though, you know, to everybody.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if we're huge fans, we would love nothing more than to continue. So if the 6 scale community gives us the green light, we'd be happy to go back to the well on it.
Would you ever do like this in this picture here, like diorama environments, like just so you just like the couch diorama, and you could include the figures? I mean, no one's gonna buy a Donald Moffat figure, but if you had a couch, I mean, I'm big into chairs, I love my chairs, but if you had a couch and you could the tied to this effing couch diorama set, and it's the blood test. Call it the blood test set, you know. And
you get one couch sculpt, and then you amortize it. You do a Friends 1/6. You do everything. You just keep bringing the couch back. You Beavis and Butthead. Like you can do everything. It's just
I know you
1/6
gentlemen
couch.
have been through a lot lately.
Yeah, but you know what's funny is that the reality is when it comes to accessories and dioramas is like we were just talking before the stream about New Wave. You guys turned me on to those arcade machines, and I think to be totally honest, like those kind of things are probably best served by the community, frankly, and entrepreneurs. Who are able to create that, because it's tough sometimes to gamble on stuff like that and say, I think we can sell minimum units of X, Y, and Z. But again, like it depends on the audience and the appetite. Over time, there's all kinds of diorama pieces we've discussed internally that would be really rad. So it depends on that, it really does.
Well, I do think, like we've talked a lot about with 6-scale collecting, I'm of the opinion that diorama pieces are going to become more and more popular, because as people buy modular cases or they build those garage shelf units, they have the space where they're going to want to where displaying your figures is going to become, I think, the next level, because it adds so much to your collection.
I agree 100%. It changes. I mean, that's the whole point of getting into 6-scale in the first place is
of course. Of course,
like I've got my little band here, but I keep seeing like you can get the Doof Warrior from Mad Max Fury Road's coming out, and you could buy it. You can buy the version that has the wall of speakers.
Exactly. I was gonna say you need a stage.
Yeah, and I want to build a stage, a rock, because I looked at Anthony, what he did like with this arcade.
It's ridiculous.
And then with the arcade that Anthony's got with the New Wave games, and New Wave is making chairs, and they're making the
BMX,
more of the accessories. Yeah, the BMX. They're gonna do a skee ball, the skee ball things, which I love.
But it's so cool. It's so cool, and it just shows you like the health of the collecting community when, if we're over here developing the figures because we have the licenses, right? Well, there are other folks out there who may not have licenses to everything, but can develop exactly what you're talking about, Rob, like with your enthusiasm for the collecting, for the hobby. We've talked in the. There's been shows covering in the past. Like I got excited about the Moisture Spire that what's his name? Jazz Inc. put out.
Yep.
Like I would never think that the Moisture Spire would get me so excited, but it did. And again, like Hot Toys probably won't make it, but because Jazz Inc. does, my Hot Toys look better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what about like you could do a modular case that's just an ice cave.
That's it.
And you can have like Luke hanging upside down, and you could have a wall over here, or then you could just do a whole tableau of different characters that were stuck in the ice.
And you'll finally have a place for your 1/6 collection of the film Alive, Rob, which you've always wanted to display, complete with hollowed out butt cheeks.
That's so well. Awesome. It's there. There's a new movie about that incident coming out.
Didn't we say all we had to say in the first one?
I don't know. It's supposed to be good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it then.
But but you guys you support the idea of dioramas with your accessories, like the accessories in this figure, like build the dog cage, because you've got the dog looking out.
It's kind of like what our approach is for a lot of these, right? I mean, especially
I was gonna say your X-Men figures do support that as well. There's stuff going on.
Yeah, we want to include as much as we can, right? To not only trigger off that bit of nostalgia in you, right? And give you that smile, right? When I see like the Wolverine with a turkey leg, to most people,
dude, I had the turkey leg for like months. So
they may not care and be like, or they may even be like, why is there a turkey leg with Wolverine? But if you remember that episode and you remember when he cut it, ate it, it's a fun little. Those are the things that for me as a fan makes me smile, and I try to include those things in our releases. Right, that's just how it is, and then sometimes it works as a diorama in a diorama piece or whatever. And Raul, our photographer, he builds all of these little sets,
right,
for it, and it just kind of makes you picture like, oh, this is where it could be.
Doesn't that make you guys look at everything he builds and go, you know what? Maybe we, I like what you're doing with the photos, but
100%.
If you're building all this stuff, maybe we could.
I mean, You know, at Comic-Con, you had your Mondo Town or Mondo. What if you had a whole line of Mondo World diorama pieces that worked between different things, like a cityscape that could be used for all the X-Men fighting the Brotherhood of Evil, for instance, or it could be used for something else.
Well, we've talked about a 1/6 scale Castle Grayskull multiple times, but the reality, Rob, is you don't have any place to put it.
I don't.
You can't have it.
No, he has no room.
But pieces. But you know, because pieces of things,
like a modular one,
like doorways, archways, walls, like a warehouse wall. You know, that might have hanging chains and graffiti or something
that's a bit more modular, not just like a giant.
Right.
Yeah. Pieces.
And you're talking about like a piece of Grayskull, not necessarily.
With a Mondo twist.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because look at like Super 7 or something, right? They did the Thundercats lair. And they did a fantastic job, but then you look at something like that and you're like, okay, that's like the entire fucking lair. I mean, that thing is huge. So then you're like, well, where am I going to put it? So it's kind of the same thing. You know, if you did something like small pieces, you know, like Peter's saying, like maybe modular pieces of things here and there, you would know as a collector, and maybe, you know, for whoever's viewing your stuff, you're like, oh, okay, that's part of, you know, so-and-so. Like it works because, dude, some of that's too big. We do that as collectors though, right? We're like, oh, let's get a 6 scale TIE fighter. And you're like, dude, do you know how big a 6 scale TIE fighter is? I mean,
that's what the ceiling's for.
Well, where's the snow
what else
speeder
are you gonna do with it?
My snow speeder is actually on the floor.
Right, so you know,
right over there.
Point proven. I do want to say thank you though to Christopher. He said, like I said before on the channel, I don't collect superheroes, just villains. But that picture of Jubilee with the Coke machine really got me. Definitely looking forward to getting some of those accessories. Well, thank everybody here, Mondo and obviously New Wave, man. That Coke machine. I mean, that was. I was like, yeah, because I did a couple of photos, you know, a couple of weeks on that, and I was like, you know what, this is cool. So, you know, talking about like just setups and dioramas and displays and, you know, building the arcade. I was like, Jubilee's just got to go win her. I mean, she's, you know,
with the bubble out. She
had the bubble out. And had her, you know, her sparks coming off the finger, like she was messing with the Coke machine. I mean, you know, it's just fun. You know, it's fun, man. So, yeah, dude, that would be really awesome, though.
Oilers Workshop says, I love how Rob spends other people's money. That's what I'm here for, man.
Well, I mean, that
Mondo,
happens.
10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, a couple people were asking if it's all pay in full, but you guys had mentioned that you do offer like third party, like you said, like Afterpay and PayPal, stuff like that, if people wanted to do some kind of payments that way.
Yes. We have something called Sezzle or something on the site that like basically breaks it up for you.
Yeah, okay. There's Sezzle, there's Shop Pay, I think, and then there's a handful on our site.
I like Shop. Once you put your name in there, it's really easy to buy stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, oh, we remember you. Go ahead, hit next, and just let's take your money. Yeah, that's rough, man. Yeah, no, he looks great, man. So tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Yes.
2 versions for those of you guys tuning in, right? The main deluxe package, right? You said it was $265, right?
265, and then the regular edition, the regular version, which is just doesn't include the two creatures, is $235.
And I think
there's really only one to buy.
Well, yeah, there's really only one to buy, but that's it's $30 difference, but the 10-day window is what's going to get you guys out there.
Yeah, the 10-day window is just because we still have part of what our philosophy is. We are still wanting to make some stuff feel exclusive and feel special. And with our timed edition windows, it gives anyone, the majority of people who are really into it a chance to get it without it selling out. As opposed to it being a limited edition and we only do X amount of units and it goes like that. This we've found have opened it up to people, and people have been really responsive to the idea of having more time and not having to rush in the first 5-10 minutes or an hour to get our stuff. So it's just something we've started doing with a lot of our bigger releases,
which I think is great.
I prefer it as well. Hey, shout out Margos. What's up, man? Collector Zone in the house, man. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, no, I'm in the same sentiment, man. We talk about this a lot on my shows, like on Saturdays or whenever, like just in the 6-scale community, where I prefer the timed releases. I mean, I guess you call them timed releases. I guess that's what they are. But like we kind of do similar stuff, right? Too, like X06, right? With Trek. Hey, this is going up for pre-order until November 8th or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. I prefer, because with Hot Toys lately, with Sideshow, they've been doing this kind of queue system, and you're scrambling, or maybe you're at work and you can't do it, or whatever, you're sleeping, who knows, or it's just timing out because the site's getting hammered, and then you lose.
That happened to me last week. There was a vault, there was the Vice, they put out posters and stuff. They do these,
Vice Press.
Vice Press. They do these film vault editions. And I went in there, and they were having a few. They had found remainders like Jaws. I really wanted their Jaws set. And they had it. I clicked on it. I put it into my cart, and then when I went down to punch out, it got hung up.
Mm-hmm.
And during that hang up, they sold out.
Yeah, and it happens with us all the time too. When we do limited editions, like it's just unfortunate that there's so many people trying to buy it at once.
Yeah, and I'm like, I got up, I'm there. Not that I can always go buy it on the secondary market, I guess, for a bunch more money, but it's frustrating when that happens because you planned, you're there, you have it in your cart, and you just have to make 2 clicks. I wish I could be like add to cart, and it would just go to the cart and charge me.
Yeah.
Rather than having to do, you have to, and it didn't
create
do
the
that.
software. Someone needs to make it.
I know. Come on, man, for us collectors.
Yes, it is free shipping. So just throwing that out.
Okay,
there.
it is. All right, yeah, I just wanted to be clear with that. So
free shipping.
Yep. So just 265. That's it, all in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, are you using a proprietary body?
No, we've developed our own 1/6 scale body.
Wow, cool. Okay.
For this, yeah. So it is in theory going to be.
So it is a proprietary. You've designed it. That's what I.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Misunderstood. Yes. And it will be something that we in theory can reuse for other figures of similar,
that's cool.
Body type, I suppose.
Well, because if you could sell those body type, if you could sell the body,
right,
you could make multiple. You've got second head sculpts.
Spending other people's money and selling other people's bodies.
I
know, like this is what he does. No,
I'm just thinking for the future.
No, of course, you're 100% right. That's
collector's
the beauty
market.
of it. Yeah,
the Mondo body.
Well, here's the thing. I love X-Men. You guys know that, and I think everything that you guys done with X-Men has been awesome so far. Batman as well, but X-Men's really like my lane because of so much other stuff, right? I have too much to really delve, but seeing, jumping in again, as you mentioned, like without, Hitchcock, and now kind of coming back in, like I still think this is really awesome for a lot of collectors out there who do also love all these, older films that maybe aren't too keen on like the animated style of stuff, and now you can like kind of capture and bring. It's just another avenue. So if you continue, like you mentioned with They Live coming, I'm sure there's going to be more. That's really cool, man, for a lot of other folks out there. They're gonna be like, oh dude, I'm totally, especially someone like me. I mean, like it's all 80s,
Yeah,
all those awesome movies that we grew up with, I'm all in. So
and a lot of those movies don't get representation as 1/6.
No,
right?
Not at all.
The amazing stuff that other companies are doing, like you don't see a lot of it in 1/6, right?
No,
I mean, Trick Treat Studio was doing some cool stuff, back in, when they were releasing some 1/6 scale figures, but.
Yeah. I mean, Trick or Treat Studios done a couple of great pieces recently. That Sam figure they came up with from Trick or Treat the movie, the Trick or Treaters from Halloween 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of what they do over there.
I mean, they've made 2 of these figures, but they were only 8 inches. But I'm thinking Jaws, boys, Jaws.
Oh man, a 6 scale Bruce the Shark. Has it been done?
No. You got to get the 3. I want Hooper, I want Quint, and I want Brody.
Yeah. You don't want the shark.
No.
Okay.
I want those guys.
You heard it here first, guys.
I want those guys.
Jaws figures, no shark.
A Quint is something I'm really dying.
Yeah, because those 8-inch ones are good, but they're not. They're not. And it's Universal. It's horror. You could even
we have the license.
Yeah, you have a section of the boat, maybe the bow of the boat, so you could have one of them with the gun up there and the other Brody's spotting.
Well, that would be
I love that idea.
That would be really cool. I mean,
and make that a 3-pack.
Yeah,
you know, a 3-pack, because it's not like these guys are going to come with massive. You make you
yeah,
you
they're
even have
limited.
a couple of barrels, maybe, you know, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, I'm spending people's money. I know.
Okay. Well, Buzz, thank you, my man. He says great fig, but will you ship to Europe?
Yes. It includes the EU, UK, North America, South. Let me double check.
Okay. Okay.
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, because that would be awesome. Because I know a lot of people. There's certain ones. I mean, we know how it is in this world. Some things are just licensed for.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
we definitely have territory
and
restrictions for a handful of our properties that is just unavoidable. Yeah, it goes to U.S., Canada, UK, and the EU.
All right. You heard it here first, man. That's awesome. That'll work then. That'll work for a lot of people. There's a lot of people over there that are into it, and like, it sucks because that's kind of how we are with certain figures too here in the States, right? We're like, oh well, we got to go buy overseas to get this because it's not selling here, and it just happens everywhere. But Rogamon Chris, though, man, thank you so much, dude, for a $10 super chat. He says if you ever plan to do a Castle Grayskull, you don't need to do a play set at 6 scale. Just do a facade of the front of the castle, and that would be just fine. You have my money.
That facade would still be like 5 feet tall, but
what?
Maybe it's wall mounted in that case.
Just a wall mount. It says make it a wall mounted facade. Yeah, there you go. No, I mean we trust me. We've discussed a lot of big stuff like this, and we've been talking about it, and we've gone to that point where it's like we're just trying to figure out like, okay, how do we make something that big, whether it's Grayskull or whatever, or something that big where it just works for not only for us but for the collectors and all that.
Yeah, you don't want to make something and then it's a chore for the collector. It's got to be fun when you get it.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, Elvira. I would be down. I saw Tweeterhead's newer Elvira that they did their statue. That looks awesome. But
yeah, that turned out really good.
Shout out Dave Igo over there.
Yeah, Dave Igo. Yep.
Really cool, man, what they're doing with that. Because I think that's like their third one, I think now. I think it was like 10 years was their first one 10 years ago. But I love Elvira. I would totally have a 6 scale. Because the statue looks cool, but then I'm like, it all comes down to space, man. That's where we all come down to.
I know.
But 1/6 shape though, man. What's up, Hector? Man, he says never bought from Mondo. Do you guys take full charge right at pre-order or when the item is ready to ship?
So it's if you pay up if you don't use any of the payment plans like Sezzle or whatever that we offer, it is a full payment, full charge up front.
Okay.
And then yeah.
Good to know. All right, Hector. There you go, my man. I
wanted to thank you, Anthony, for having us as always, because you guys have been awesome to us. As our intention is to come out and speak directly to the collectors and talk about what we're doing here in 1/6, and Mondo does so much in the 3D collector space, whether it's soft vinyl, Sofubi, Godzilla stuff, and statues and all that. But we know when it comes to 1/6, you gotta speak directly to the collectors and speak through a trusted channel like you guys. So I just want to make sure I get that out there, and thank you, because
I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, because we reach out to you. It's true. Like I just reached out to Anthony last week. I said, Anthony, do you have a slot? We really want to talk about this before it comes out. And he's like, let's figure it out. And then we got it. So, you're the man, dude. Thank you. And Rob, thanks for showing up, man.
You guys are the man. You're the man. No, you're the man.
This is a kind of figure, though, that I love seeing that Mondo is doing something like this. And I think it's worthy of everyone's support. I mean,
thank you.
And the funny thing to me is, like, we're always banging on about how IP is mishandled, and when you're talking about people who are making movies or whatever, but when you have a company that handles IP well, it should be celebrated. And Mondo, what you guys have been doing, especially in both the Batman the Animated Series space and the X-Men space, you've really served both collectors and the IP to the best of your ability. I mean, I can't see anybody doing it better. And now that you're going to apply that to, because remember that first time we were all talking, I'm like, I want to go work for these guys. I just want to sit in the room and spitball ideas. Even if they don't pay me, I'll just show up.
Yeah.
You know, and because you're us. I mean, and that's
it. And honestly, like Hector and I were just talking today, like we are exhausted, dude. We have had like a heck of a year, you know, getting out there and doing the work, but we're so enthusiastic and thrilled to be able to do this. It's never lost on us, you know, when we're tired, when we're like texting like at 9 p.m. Eastern time, Hector's already clocked out, you know, and Hector's a dad, you know, it's like it's a whole thing. So, but we're never off the clock, it feels like. And I mean that in the best of ways, because it is a dream job, but it's also because, like I said at the beginning of the stream, like we know that this is a rare opportunity. And if it is a dream job, it's only possible because the collectors and the community supports it, you know? And so if you know that relationship is there, Rob, like you said, you have no choice. You're not, we're here in the role, but we're stewards, you know, in this era of the collector cycle, because eventually we'll be old and retired, and hopefully someone else is making killer stuff of the stuff that they grew up loving, and that can only be inspired, you know, the way we were inspired coming up. I still to this day know that if I never got my first freaking Ninja Turtle Ghostbuster figure as a kid, and I never got Mad Balls in my hand, you know, if I never got McFarlane's movie Maniacs, you know, when those were coming out, like all that stuff had inspired me along the way to make me want to be a part of this business. And I know Hector has a similar journey, and so we know that it's important. So we want to.
It's so funny, movie Maniacs. Speaking of like, you know, movie interpretation, that kind of like pioneered the way for a lot of like this ushering of horror collectibles, horror toys. I mean, some of the best iteration of Jason I can think of, right?
Yeah.
In like an action figure form, or you know, all then they were doing some anime at the time. Oh,
yeah.
They did those stylized movie monster packs that were dioramas as well. Those McFarlanes were really
like a Remco.
They were really cool.
McFarlane was a game changer, dude, at the time. I mean, aside from comics, I mean, we notwithstanding, I mean, but when the figure line started coming out, we didn't have that, man. We had Toy Biz and Hasbro stuff, and I remember seeing first McFarlane stuff. I was like, damn, like I thought that was hot shit at the time, you know. I mean, it is, but I mean, yeah, it was a huge leap, man. So
it was a leap of quality that the industry had never seen. Right, it was a leap of just like, here's your action figure and here's a McFarlane action figure.
Right,
yeah. It's not even
different echelon, man. Totally.
Yeah. Especially like Wave 1, you know, it's like the Spawn figures were very much in that world. They still felt like an action figure. They were elevated, but it was still like an action figure. But then was it Wave 3, Wave 4 when they just decided, we're not going to do that much articulation anymore. We're just going to like really nail like an awesome sculpt, make the cape as crazy as it looks in the comic. They applied that to movie Maniacs and a bunch of their. They were.
Those are so much fun.
And the Four Horsemen sculptors were there crushing it. You know, it's like it's all connected, and now they're doing their own thing. It's amazing if you're really a diehard collector beyond the IP and just love the medium, you know, and you become a student of the game. You realize that everything is connected. Everyone represents everyone else. You want everyone to be doing well. You know, we root for our friends at Super 7 and NECA, and because the better they do, the more exciting the community and the hobby is. And everybody, you know, it raises all boats, really does. So it's exciting. And like we said, if you're excited,
rising tide raises all ships, right?
Yeah.
No, I agree. Is it all right to assume or ask when the figure's scheduled to ship?
Let me
pull up the database right now. Hector has 6 monitors, and one of them is a camera directly focused on the Pacific Ocean.
So scheduled to ship, it'll be early summer.
Early summer? Okay. All right.
That's
So
cool.
Right now, we have it at early summer.
We track everything. We compare everything in our shipping schedule. Is it quicker or longer than it takes to get an in-game cap? And so far, everything quicker.
So far, you guys are like, yeah, you're good, flawless.
Well, the cool thing about when we do our photos, like it's 95% of the time in like factory prototype sample. We don't do renders. I'm strictly against it. And you can't capture a 1/6 scale in a render anyway, so why even try? But you know, a lot of our stuff is in production prototypes that you're seeing the photos of, so you're pretty much seeing final product of what you're going to get in your hands, and that's pretty cool when it comes to something like that. So then, yeah, we do cut our production windows a little shorter than some people because of that. With MacReady, for instance, in this one, it's still, you know, because of the complexities of the outfit and the face deco, I'm assuming is going to have to go through many rounds of me just making sure that they get it right. Type of thing. We give ourselves a little bit of buffer.
Well, nice. I prefer that as well. I know, you know, as far as saying, you know, hey, I'm not really gonna kind of show off renders, right? Because we all want to see like the product. I mean, that's how people they're gonna vote with their wallets, right? I want to see.
Yeah, and
show me what you got.
Yeah, in this age of everything, is you're just basically buying an image on your computer, right? Basically, you're seeing it on your iPhone, you know, on your Instagram feed or your Facebook feed or whatever, through a show like this or whatever. It's, for me, I always think it's best to just capture the product as best as we can and try to really let folks know, like, this is what you're getting, you know, so there's no surprises, hopefully, when they receive it, you know.
Right.
So yeah, we try to do that as much as we can.
No,
I love that picture right there,
dude. Same.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, that 3/4 right there, the 3/4 really looks like Kurt Russell. It's like like an uncanny valley situation,
dude. That, you know, that's a lot of people don't get that, you know. Just in 6 scale in general, like there's those angles, man. There's those angles where you just look at it just right, and you're like, that's it. That's how it needs to be posed. You know, not necessarily saying that, you know, for this, but you know what I'm saying. Like with a lot of figures, you just once you get, but that's how we are as people.
Yeah,
I think, you know, as well, right? I mean, we got our good sides or bad sides. They're like, oh, I like that.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
You know, so.
I don't have bad sides. Speak for yourself.
No, you don't. No, you're good.
Thank you.
Well, and another thing too is that we get used to looking when they release photographs of characters from movies. Those single photographs are what we end up seeing so much of. Like you see them in Wikipedia entries, you see them.
Yep.
So we think that's exactly the way somebody should look. And if somebody does a face sculpt that doesn't look like the picture that we've seen, if you go watch a movie, you see people from every angle, and people look different all the time with light hitting them differently. So we tend to think of the definitive version of what somebody looks like as a gallery photograph that was shot specifically for promotion, because those are the photos that get out there, and people go, well, if it doesn't look like that, because that's your memory of the character.
Right.
We don't think about the fact that a movie is showing you 24 different pictures of a character every second. So it really depends.
With different hairstyles, different variations to their expressions. To even just in this case, like, you know, he has like blood or snow or whatever on his face or sweat. And we ran into that with this, right? I mean, we ended up with sculpting 3 different versions of his portrait, just to like, because we were like focusing on one image, like you're saying, like, oh, well, let's try to get that. But then when you turned it around, it didn't feel like Kurt Russell anymore. You saw it from straight on, it didn't quite look there. Then we did a second version. Oh, it looks better straight on, but from the side, no way. It looks totally. This one, I think we got pretty close to getting every angle feeling like, at least it's like recognizable or an instant, like that's Kurt Russell.
Oh, we know exactly who. Yeah, I mean, you guys totally nailed it. I do a shout out though. What's up, brother Cousins? My man in the house, man.
Hey,
hope you're doing good, Jay. No, you nailed it. You guys nailed it. You know, and I talk about this a lot too on the show, man. People, 6 scale. I don't know. I guess all communities probably have their own, you know, issues here and there. But one thing I've noticed is, you know, a lot of us, you know, we'll see photos of anything. It could be whatever, Hot Toys, just whatever. And someone's always like, oh, it doesn't really, you know, maybe it doesn't look that right or whatever, you know. But I'm like, hey, look, but it's always in front. Like these photos are kind of zoomed in, you know, a lot of times, you know. they're 6 scale, guys. They're shrunken down 6 times from real life. So,
Yeah.
you know, when you're showing off product photos and things like that, I mean, half the time I'm always using a macro lens. You know, you got to get in there. You want to show what's up. And a lot of people are like, oh, no, I don't know. But then, you know, and then you get it on your shelf, you know, and you hear it every time. Oh, this looks so great. And, you know, like people always say that stuff. And it's always like, look, man, you're not going to have a figure like right here in your face. You know, it's on your shelf. I mean, you know, not that's not to like, you know, take away from the artistry from any of the figures, but you know, it's just our brains, the way our eyes work, we have that special viewing distance, you know. And when you have everything on a shelf, you're like, dude, this is all. I mean, we're like one of the best times I think in our life right now as collectors.
Oh, yeah, and I think that too, right? You know, when we've done certain things where it's like, I think we released a Kratos several years ago, a 1/6 Kratos. And I remember at the time people were complaining about his open mouth face because his beard was kind of covering his lips, right? And it was like they were zooming in on the mouth and like, see, it looks like he has no lips. He's like, oh, and then it's like, okay, I guess, but when you get it in hand, like that head looks awesome. Like it's just a cool,
it is
awesome head, and that figure overall turned out really great. And I'm glad that people eventually discovered it. But it's totally. I know what you're saying.
I have a question, a sort of I guess a philosophy of Mondo question when it comes to 6 scale. Like you've got a company like InArt, you know, which is going for the most realistic, like the most realistic thing in the world. When I think of Mondo, I wouldn't expect, this is going to seem odd to say, but I wouldn't expect InArt realism. I would expect a certain stylization that Mondo specializes in.
What's up, dude?
That you carry across all of your product. So to me, like the MacReady looks great. Like you could put it next to a Hot Toys figure if you wanted to. You could put I'm gonna put him right next to Jack Burton and Snake Plissken, you know, which are varying degrees, but you're going for is the philosophy, you're not doing what InArt's doing. You're not doing what Hot Toys is doing. You're doing something that's specific to Mondo because that's why you're able to add the accessories and you're adding. So there's a fun factor with Mondo stuff that you don't get necessarily with other, I guess being totally photorealistic like InArt's trying to go for. Well, that's fun. But you guys are providing something that's kind of more fun. If you buy the MacReady with the accessories and the monster, and you'll be able to put something up on your shelf that's like a scene, or it's, you know what I mean? Like, is that kind of part of what you're looking for? You know, the Mondo niche, where Mondo lives, what you guys are trying to do that's different than what other companies are doing?
Well, first of all, like, you know, it goes without saying, but the stuff that InArt's producing is incredible.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
And
the
like
stuff that Hot Toys,
boggling, like how is that even possible? Type of thing.
And the stuff that Hot Toys has been doing consistently forever. I mean, I say it all the time, but I had avoided and resisted 6 scale figures until I saw the photographs of the Luke Skywalker from Episode 8. Right? Say what you will about the movie. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but the depiction of Luke in that gear with that backpack and the beard and the staff.
Oh, yeah.
Basically looks like, you know, Star Wars Jesus in that moment, right? I know everybody calls Obi-Wan, but it looks like the anguish in the portrait and this head sculpt. I said, I don't understand what I'm looking at here. Like on the photos, I had never owned a 6 scale Hot Toy figure. So I'm just going to order this because it's fucking incredible and I need to see how it communicates in person. Getting that figure in my hand just changed how I felt about collecting. Straight up, honestly, swear to God, it changed everything. And so I'm always going to have, you know, a huge place in my collector's heart for the incredible stuff they produce. And the fact that they made me a fan of that character and figure, even though the movie didn't do such a great job for me personally. And so, yes, of course, you have to tip your hat. But I'll tell you this, it's really the toy team, the collectibles team at Mondo is such a small team. It's so personal. Hector is a great leader of the team, and he involves everybody in every step of the process that he can. It's very democratic. And the ultimate goal is when we have these meetings and we discuss, you know, what we should do with this and this release and what should we include here. It's always about exactly what you said, Rob, but in a different way. It's the fun that a collector has opening up the figure. Of course, that's huge for us.
Sure.
But the fun in coming up with the Christmas list of what should be in the box.
Yeah, man.
Those are like just the Easter eggs that we're talking about,
dude.
Though, right?
Because is there something about we're not silly. We know that you can't display everything on, and he only has 2 hands. You can't put everything. I get it. But there is something amazing to say, you know what? I'm going to have them on display like this for a while, and then I'm going to swap this head out and do this. Like multiple head sculpts for 6 scale is not the norm. Everybody knows it. It's like sometimes you get them, but it's not the standard, you know? And having all these accessories and the creatures in the box, that's not always the norm. You get it from time to time, but it's not the norm. So it's exactly that. If we could only design one version of MacReady ever and never get a chance to do it again.
Yeah.
What do you want to put in the box?
I think the way, so what Rob was saying earlier, obviously everybody has their own thing. Every company has their own thing. What I really like, and I mentioned this before, I think last time, Peter, when you were on, is that, you know, some people get a little turned off because they're like, oh, you know, I want like movie accurate, you know, portraits and this and this and that. And, you know, and I said, but I try, you know, and I explained to a lot of people, the X-Men, you know, the Batman, all your animated line stuff, to me, it is awesome because it is accurate in its own way, right? It's the accuracy of the animated shows. So I'm like, I never understood the argument on some folks where I'm like, yo, this is it, man. Like this is X-Men 92, like every which way. And when you guys throw in, you know, 4, 5, 6 head sculpts and all these different accessories, like you mentioned, like the turkey leg, just weird stuff that only like fans know, right? This was in the, you know, 5 minutes in one episode or whatever. That's awesome.
That's exactly what I meant, because no other company would have made Jubilee's bubblegum blown up. Mm-hmm. That, to me, that everything you need to know about Mondo is in that, the idea that somebody thought to themselves, wouldn't it be cool if we did a face sculpt with a bubble? You know, and when you see, when I same thing, when I saw Anthony's picture with the Coke machine, that to me, that's what Mondo does that no other company does. And to hear that you guys obsess over what's going in the box
100%
is exactly what you guys, and that's why I look at this MacReady figure and it puts a smile on my face, not just as a figure collector, but also as a fan of the thing. You know, because you guys are giving me more. I'm getting, it's not just a figure on a shelf. You're now giving me something to set up. So I won't just know who it is. Anybody that comes in and looks at my shelf will go, that's the thing. And they'll get it. I don't think that, like, for instance, a Hot Toys would ever do something like that, because I mean, they kind of do in a way,
but not
as started to. I think they've started to add more,
a little bit, but it's
some bases and stuff like, which is pretty cool.
The bases are cool, but I mean, like, you can set up scenes. You know, it's. I mean, they kind of sometimes they'll throw in a destroyed, like Luke will have hit a droid or something. You get the destroyed droid, but
sure, yeah. I mean, like I got the Dark Trooper, you know, blinking back there.
Me too. But there's a fun factor to what Mondo's doing that I think is unique to Mondo, and I love that. You see that in this figure.
Yeah, I always tell, like, even like internally when we talk about it and stuff, and I tell, you know, we're talking to my team, and sometimes we even debate, like, oh, maybe we have too many, maybe 6 heads with Jubilee is a little much. Maybe we don't need to include the elf head from the fantasy episode, but we discuss all those things, and then at the end of the day, I always tell everybody, it's like, listen, and this goes back to the whole us being lucky, and all of us, right, being in this scene, and this collectors, you know, collecting some of the toys that we grew up with and all this kind of stuff, is that if this is the last chance we ever get to make Jubilee, and it's from X-Men, the animated series, this is the last Jubilee. That's it. Just think of it that way. What would you do? What would you put it in?
The definitive Jubilee.
Yeah. And that's kind of like what we try to go for with all of our releases. And sure, sometimes there is more accessories you could add. There's probably always more, but we try to, like, you know, within reason, keep it to a point where it's like, hey, if you want Cyclops, right? Like, we announced Cyclops when we were at PowerCon for next year, right? And it's like, you have to include the jacket. You have to include his regular Scott face. We have to make the glasses removable so you can see his red eyes. there's a random scene in that show where his face
where he's
to a
got
sentinel head. Include that. Like,
are you talking like CV eyes too, or he's just got like the red sunglasses?
Yeah, the red sunglasses. And you can remove them and just see his eyes.
Yep.
His red eyes.
And the 𝗕𝗔𝗦𝗔𝗡 head. You know what that?
Yeah. There's. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we take pride in. And you're right. It's about the fun. It's about having fun. It's about being like opening it up, and for me, if I envision it, it's like I open MacReady, I'm like, yeah, this is awesome, but oh, look at the little spider creature.
More on that. Your guys' box presentation is also really awesome.
Oh my God, yes.
Thank you.
Really, no, seriously, like, and I mean, because like coming from Hot Toys, some of them are cool, right? I mean, you usually get like the cigar band boxes, little artwork, but I don't know, man. Like, look, going through some of these, like every box is like you got all these just different, little nods to certain things, like from that show or from the character, all sprinkled throughout. And I was like,
there's an encompassing of all of action figure toy history in your box design.
Yeah,
because you get that kind of like, there are times when I don't want to open a Mondo box because I like the way you put up. It's too big to put up on a shelf like that, because you've nailed how everything, even the thought behind where does the accessories go in the box to make the best presentation. So it's like, wow, this is like something I might have bought in the 80s or 90s.
Right? Yeah, totally.
So, and I love that about the product. It's funny because you didn't show what the box looked like, but I'm like, I bet that box is gonna be badass.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we had the time to show. The box is gonna be really cool. Trust me. I wish we could show it. It's just still in a prototyping stage.
Of course, but whatever it is, it's gonna be dope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
We're even pushing it now too, even more so than we did before. We have an awesome person who just joined our team, Jordan, and he's in line with what Mondo stands for, which is like, let's push boundaries here where we can, and trying to do some cool, even better. I mean, we just did 𝗕𝗙 from Cowboy Bebop, the little corgi in Cowboy Bebop, and in the show, the first time you see that you see 𝗕𝗙, he's in like this metal briefcase. So the box for 𝗕𝗙 is the metal briefcase, and you have to like open it up like a briefcase and pull it out. He comes with his little accessories. So that's kind of like where we're taking things, where like the box is now going to hopefully become more of an essential part of the whole package.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. That is awesome.
It's an experience. We talk about all the time about how much we love our figures, but also everybody knows what I mean when I say when you open up a box and you get that vinyl plastic smell. And you're like, oh, here we go. The ceremony, the sacrament commences, and everything of like unfurling and pulling things out. So yeah, the packaging adds to that. And Hector was shouting out Jordan Christensen, amazing member of our team, who has done some really exciting stuff. I can't wait to show you guys in the near future. Really ingenious stuff. So super excited about it.
Dude, I can't wait. I do.
Yeah,
but if I can, real quick, Figman, dude, thanks, my man, for $20 super chat, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it very much, man. So much, dude. Thank you, man. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate it, man. But he says, wanted to thank Mondo and Mafia for bringing this to life. Of course, always. Been a fan of this movie all my life. Appreciate you, Rob, as well. Thank you for your insight. Well, thank you, my man.
Totally.
Dude, appreciate that. If I can, I got a couple of questions that I've been noticing in the chat. If I can hit, let me, because I can't star them in here, so I have to kind of browse through. But SJC36 says, any chance for Deluxe Harley to pop back up? I missed it.
Harley Deluxe?
The timed edition, I think he's referring to. So the timed edition itself, no. We do try to keep those as being a special moment in time, I guess you could call it, where this is the figure, this is the version that we're releasing, and we try to stay true to that just for the collector's sake of it. We don't want to just like say it was a timed edition for 10 days and then 5 months later that'd
be like, just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding. Here's more time to buy.
Well, because I know, some people they like that. They like that exclusivity of sorts. And you're like, hey, wait a minute, I rushed to get this, and now it's.
I think it's a big part of our collector group, right? It's just that is a part of it too, knowing that even though you had time to get it, you still have something that is special, and we try to stick to that. So That being said, there is a regular edition Harley that doesn't come with the Bud and Lou available still on Mondo Shop, which is kind of just like our kind of evergreen Harley that's going to hang out. But that doesn't mean that we wouldn't reissue another version of her with maybe more accessories or a tie-in to another episode or something like that.
Something like that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Appreciate. And then Jason's Trek, my man, says, is Gambit Standard Edition going up soon?
Yeah, actually, the timed edition will be hopefully shipping by the end of the year to everybody. So they'll be getting that. Those who ordered that will be getting it. And then with Rogue, that we announced over at during PowerCon as well, you can expect to see a Gambit Standard Edition to go up.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
I think that's the first time I've said that to anyone outside of work. Who to hear first?
No, it's awesome. No, everybody appreciates it. I mean, there's a lot of Mondo fans here right now, so it's like, being able to be like, oh, okay, cool, I appreciate that, because oftentimes we don't know. A lot of us don't know. So to be able to communicate with everybody on well, I'm obviously, some things you can't, but the stuff you can, it's really helpful for everybody. Like the deputy's wondering for MacReady, will this be available through Big Bad Toy Store?
What the timed edition 100% no. Okay. Those are timed editions are reserved for just mondoshop.com. Regular edition, I'm not sure yet if we will offer it to Big Bad. We haven't really discussed it. As of now and tomorrow, you'll be able to get both versions on mondoshop.com, and that'll be the only place you can get either or for the time being.
Okay. Well, that's how it should be, right? It's your guys' timed exclusive. I mean,
right,
we're gonna funnel here. This is what we have. Here you go. Now the regular edition's out here for you guys, for anybody else. And then Conquer Knight's wondering, any chance of a Poison Ivy from Batman animated series? I mean, then maybe.
He's definitely one of the bigger characters in the show. I mean, and we I think this year was a good year for Batman the Animated Series, for us in that sense, because we had kind of taken a little break from it. We released the Joker, I believe it was last year, and that was kind of like the first one to kind of bring those figures back after a long time. It had just been Batman, Freeze, and Catwoman, I believe, that were the only ones that had come out. So this year we just added more. We did Man-Bat, right? We did Phantasm, first time that's ever been 1/6. Same with Man-Bat, and then Harley, obviously. So I think next year you're going to see another big year for us with Batman the Animated Series and supporting some of those other Rogues Gallery characters for sure. We're going to be at Designer Con in a month or so, at the middle of December, and we're going to have a bunch of reveals.
Is that Pasadena?
It's changed. It's in Anaheim at the Anaheim.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
All right.
They usually do it in November, but this year it moved to December. But we'll be there and definitely have a lot of reveals and a lot of first looks.
Nice. Okay.
Next year.
Very cool. And FPJ says, I say this all the time, Mondo's meme Wolverine figure is the best. No other company would have done that. It's true. It's true. I love it. That was awesome. That was the SDCC one, right?
Yeah, that's how we got into being able to make X-Men, right? It was through that. So
wow.
Super cool, man. And Rockemont Chris though says, with the level of popularity increasing over the last 2 years, will there ever be a 2.0 of Mr. Freeze like you did with Batman? There are currently only 2 on eBay over 600.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy because I remember when that figure came out, it was available for a minute, and then when we finally sold through it, and now it's just barely. No one's really selling them in the aftermarket, and if you do find one, it's super expensive. So we did announce at Comic-Con a noir series, a special noir series that we're going to be doing black and white versions of those animated figures. Wow. That are they're meant to be very limited in nature, but just like a fun little nod that we want to do to like kind of like a black and white treatment. So Freeze is coming back in that form. In terms of revisiting the mainline figure, I don't know at the moment if we will or not, to be honest.
Okay, well that's fair, and that's still cool. For some people who want it, either they felt like they missed out or they just like the black and white versions.
Right.
It's cool to be seeing some other kind of variation of swords. I try to tell people that all the time. It's like yeah, if it's the one you wanted, it's like try to get it when you can. If you didn't know it existed, then you had missed out. Well, you kind of have an opportunity in, you know, another sense, you know, like doing some other kind of variation and whatnot. So, I mean, it could, you know, it's hard, guys. I would always say try to stay on it. Like now that if you know, like get in on the timed because yeah, that sucks when you're like, oh my god, I missed that, and you know, yeah, it's tough, man. And Jason, my man says, I'm happy to be ordering MacReady tomorrow. Thanks, brother. But some my hearts with classic Universal monsters. Will we be seeing any more of them, or was Creature it for now?
No, I mean, you know, we definitely want to revisit the Universal monsters right now that we are, you know, have the official license with Universal and all of that, right?
Can you do anything with Universal?
No, I mean, of course there's limitations, right, there, and we are limited to certain properties and all of that, but we do have a good assortment, and I think for us, especially Mondo being such like a, you know, a supporter of the horror genre or sci-fi and all that, it just kind of lends itself to collectibles. I mean, we've to start exploring that, kind of like how our posters and our records have been doing for so many years. And yeah, Universal monsters. I mean, I know Peter's a huge fan. I'm a huge fan, and I've been wanting to do an Invisible Man for years. So
you guys did a great poster for that.
Yeah, there's so many great Universal monster models.
I was just thinking that, you know what else is Universal is Last Starfighter, and next year's its 40th anniversary.
Last Starfighter, that's right.
Just saying.
You know what's funny? That the ship for the Last Starfighter.
That's what I was kind of thinking.
I was confusing Last Starfighter with Flight of the Navigator. Never mind.
Oh,
the ship for Flight of the Navigator was
all chrome.
Yeah, it was in the backyard of a house in the suburbs here in Miami in the 80s because the designer lived here. It was so weird.
Well, really? You know, the Last Starfighter ship's pretty cool. It'd be cool to have like a vinyl version of it, maybe.
Oh yeah,
man.
Strong.
Trust me, Rob. It's been brought up. We've talked about it. There's so many. I mean, there's one of the, you know, we always talk about how we wish there's like, especially when we get access to new licenses and stuff, it's like a new toy box to just be able to
like, so what can we do with this?
Yeah, but there's only so many days and weeks you can release stuff, and like how, you know, oversaturation and all that kind of stuff, you know, you gotta, but yeah, Universal monsters is something we talk about a lot.
High on the priority list, Universal monsters. Jason's Trek, just so Hector was saying it, but as long as I'm here, we will be championing that every day. We're highly focused on getting that going soon, hopefully.
That would be sweet, dude. Because I mean, the Creature was that was it for now anyway. But you know, Bob, that's funny. I was thinking that just right now. That was hilarious. When you were like, it was all chrome, and it's like, it had to come from Naboo.
They wipe off the yellow.
Dude, that's so freaking sweet, man. Last Starfighter would be awesome, of course. Any 80s movies, 90s movies, but 80s movies, stuff like that that's just me though. Like I'm excited for, obviously, you know, both figures that you guys are doing right now, you know, coming through. You know, They Live and Thing, and I mean, you know, Cost
and Megan, remember we announced Megan. That's another one that's like
Megan's
crazy.
there too.
Yeah.
I know they just announced Bloodsport, so like there's things like that in my head where I'm just like, oh, dude, anything 80s, man, it's huge.
I love seeing all the Bloodsport like that's coming out recently. It's just like been a year of just like high-end Bloodsport statues, action figures. And
I'm like, yo, let's go, man. Like, you know.
Well, also with Arrow announcing the Conan box set coming out in 4K.
You
know, Conan getting Conan with the battle. You know, there have been figures that were going to come out that were canceled. You know,
hopefully the strike ends soon too. You know, like a lot of those, you want those actors to be able to approve their likenesses. You know, that's another thing. But that's a
Conan line would be a cool Mondo line though.
Yeah,
that'd be a cool thing
to
do.
Yeah, let me ask you: is this? I don't even know if I can ask this because I don't even think you could answer me. You probably couldn't answer me anyway. So doing animated lines, man, and I know a couple people in the chat asked as well. Something I was thinking: is it possible?
Tales from the Crypt Keeper.
That would be actually really cool. But no, the real Ghostbusters line.
Oh man,
that's something you guys thought of, or at least thought of. I know you can't tell me anything if you know anything, but Is it something you ever thought of?
For sure. I mean, there's so many cool characters in that show, right? Like, and especially all the ghosts, like the boogeyman.
I think you guys would nail it.
There's so many. There's
just
so
the
many
opening credit sequence with the giant, like I forgot what his name, the giant haunted Halloween pumpkin, jack-o'-lantern thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, we would love to do it if we get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. That was a show that I grew up with too. I watched like every single episode.
Yeah, and it was just
like one of the most influential shows when I was a little kid.
Totally.
Well, and they all have their different colored jumpsuits and their hair. I mean, I was like, dude, Mondo, you guys would kill it. Like seriously,
and it's never been done on 1/6 scale, right? I mean, for those characters. I mean, the figures they've done some smaller figures, right? In the
yes, but they've done the movie characters. I forgot who did the
Blitzway.
Blitzway, yeah, Blitzway. Those are great.
Those are great.
Yeah, but they're like notorious for not redoing shit. So I mean, these a few of us have them, but not many because they're like fucking like $3,000. Yeah, like you can't get them because they don't. So, but I mean, that would be real Ghostbusters. Yeah, that would be something really awesome. But hey, but Rock'em Chris, man, thank you, my man, for the $5 super chat. He says, just an idea. Would Mondo ever get into 90s retro game characters like Earthworm Jim?
Yeah,
I love Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, I love Earthworm Jim, and it was one of those things that I had pitched to the powers that be many years ago, and it just never came around to like actually getting it official or anything. But there's someone already releasing them, I believe. A pretty awesome Earthworm Jim. They're also doing Battletoads.
They're not 1/6.
No,
but they are outstanding. The Earthworm Jim prototypes were at PowerCon, and they are next level.
I forget their name, but
someone will find it. It's the same people who do Battletoads right now, and the Battletoads figures are really cool. Don't get me wrong, and they're huge and all that. But the Earthworm Jim figures were just on another level. So let me see if I can give them a shout out.
Yeah. No, but I think like PCS did like the Battletoads. I think the statues, but
these were like I think they did some Battletoad statues. Let's see. Premium DNA. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Premium DNA did some Earthworm Jim based off the games.
They announced them,
and then the Battletoads, and then they done some cool stuff. Yeah,
dude, that would be pretty awesome.
It's figures in 1/6. Yeah, we talked about music, and it's definitely something that would be interesting to explore.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, you know what? Justin's right. Plus, the ecto-1 is out there waiting for him.
Yeah, right.
Because like you guys are gonna make the Batmobile, right?
I mean, we did do a 1/6 scale Battle Cat. So.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I mean, as deep as Batman is, I'm like, I know you can't really talk about it, but all right. Well, guys, I think we probably got to wrap it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to jump off.
Okay. Okay.
Back to work.
Yeah. Well, do we have any final parting thoughts then, or?
Well, again, just thank you so much, both you guys. You're always a warm welcome for us, and P-Rock too. He wasn't with us tonight, but he's another great champion for us, and it really gives us the confidence and the excitement going forward that if we continue to contribute to the 1/6 scale space, the you guys are going to know about it thanks to 6 Scale Mafia, Anthony, and you guys. So expect a lot more from us. And if you can tomorrow, if you're excited about 1/6 horror, if you're excited about 1/6 80s, if you're excited about all that stuff, we're dying to do it. So come out and show up in a big way. Tell all your friends, leave comments in other streams if you're going to go watch another stream now, and help blow it up, because we want to make it as big as possible so we can keep exploring it.
Hey, and listen, you guys, thank you always. You're always welcome here, and I appreciate you guys always coming on and talk. I got my show tomorrow night too, and rest assured, I will be talking about this figure tomorrow night as well, man.
Me too.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, more people popping out, more people noticing, more people coming in. It's a great time, man. And I love everything that you guys are doing. So guys, thank you guys for coming in. Everybody watching tonight, man. Be sure to hit that like, dude. Links are in the description below too, right? You guys go right to Mondo's shop. Of course, I've linked Hector and Peter's, Instagram, everybody else. Everything is down below. And man, happy Halloween, right?
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you both. Appreciate it again. Thank you.
This was great.
No, thank you. Of course.
See you guys later
guys.
at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
10 a.m. tomorrow. MondoShop.com, guys. Get your MacReady. Alrighty, we're out of here. Peace.